Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode number 97 of CBD Talk Podcast. We have an interesting episode tonight. There are a lot of people who will say CBD doesn't work for them. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. And joining us tonight is Kate Povondra from Happy Buddha Hemp. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Dawn, and the audience out there. Hope you guys are having a good time, and I'm excited to, talk about how different people experience CBD.
First of all, how about you let us know how you got into CBD?
Yeah, so I actually got involved with CBD almost 6 years ago when I met my soon-to-be husband, and we met out at an organic hippie commune. And just we were both out there from the city to learn about organic growing, how it supports the body. And DJ, the other founder of Happy Buddha Hemp, knew about CBD. And I was really in good shape when I was out there. I was like hiking, biking, and then I fell down some stairs when it was a rainy day. And, all of a sudden, about 2 days later, my back seized up and it was really painful. I could barely move. So he introduced me to CBD to just hopefully help with the pain because I, had a background with massage and like nothing was helping. And everyone was like, I don't know what to do. So I started using it, and that on top of my self-care routine of massage, acupuncture, yoga, that CBD was the thing that allowed me to really regain my quality of life and start becoming more physical again. So, we became really interested in it, and I started to learn about it from DJ. And then I started to use it in my massage practice and saw like all of these people and hearing their different feedback about how they felt with this CBD massage versus just a regular massage. And that really got us catapulted to start Happy Buddha Hemp.
So when you used it the first time, were you using a tincture or were you using a topical?
I was using a topical just because with my background in massage, I knew that was the most effective way to get the most relief. So I would bring it to my massages, use it after acupuncture to really kind of help support that healing process of that muscle spasm.
So now, just to let everybody know, Happy Buddha Hemp has a line of products, and here, for example, is their tincture, and they have topicals as well and oils, which are always fun. So we'll talk about these as well. But when did you start getting into tinctures then?
So I actually got into tinctures after my back was healed. And, a lot of people, when they hear the story, think it was like, oh, 3 days go by and my back is good. No, it took a good, it was really seized up for about 2 years. I mean, I use CBD religiously every day for at least a year. And I started using tinctures about like 6 months or so after I initially started using CBD because I also have anxiety. Definitely one of those people who loves to pile stuff on my plate because I hate being bored. So, I usually get a little bit of anxiety. And, after like, it had been like 6 months of really learning about this, I was like, well, it apparently works to calm the nervous system. So I tried it, and it really started to help me with my anxiety. So that's when I started using more of the internal approach for it. Because I just wanted to really focus in on my muscles at first and really see what CBD does, what the limitations are of using it in a health regimen.
Yeah, and that's what you were familiar with was was topicals and things like that. So that was where your comfort level was. So I could see how you would definitely start in that area since you worked with massage. I mean, it's just a natural thing. Okay, so Oh, goodness. I forgot to silence my phones. So, everybody, silence your phones. Let me. Oh, Lord help me, because God knows how many times this is going to ring if I don't. Sorry about that, y'all.
I know they always wait till you're doing something, and then that's what everybody calls.
Yeah, well, of course, it also said, spam. I'm like, yeah, well, that I get a bazillion of those a day. Um, I wish I could give my cell phone CBD. It'll calm itself down a little bit. Okay, can't do that. All right, so the reason that I wanted to talk with you was because so when you get something from Happy Buddha Hemp, you can get on their email list, and they send a lot of good information. And even for people who have been in the industry for a long time, it's always good to see new things and different approaches and stuff. And so one of the emails that came across was why CBD doesn't work. And so we knew that was, that's to get people to read it. And so we're definitely not saying why CBD doesn't work, but what was so great about it is that it had information in there to help people who are saying that, oh, CBD doesn't work for me. And everybody's different. Different bodies, different metabolisms, different whatever, different problems with ailments and things like that may or may not work with CBD. So I'm not saying that CBD is some magic bullet, because it's not. um, but there are a lot of people who try something once then walk away. And so the purpose of this episode is to really give people some tools who maybe have tried it and it didn't work. And so let's talk about the ways that some of the mistakes that people make when they try CBD, but also things that people may not have thought about to help the efficacy, or um, just new thoughts around um, things that they can do to make it work better for them. So, you know what, Kate, you start wherever you want. So,
All right, jumping into the
you
deep end.
jump, baby.
Yeah, and we really have seen that because we've been doing this now for 6 years, back when hemp was just legal just in Colorado, not on that federal level. And, since then, we really had a lot of customers come through our door and have done a lot of research as to, how CBD works for different bodies, different conditions, different people, the different kinds of CBD. And we've really seen the marketplace develop over the 6 years from, I remember when we first started, we started off growing our hemp like we do. And when we first started, most people were trying to actually sell us marijuana, but tell us to harvest it early. And we were like, no, no, no. So, I mean, we've seen literally from it not even being available on the marketplace to it being on every corner gas station, everybody being inundated with it, and, everything in between. And we really learned a lot of things about how CBD works with the body, and what the industry is really all about, and how we're all setting the precedence for what the end consumer and the customer really is looking for and experiencing. And the biggest thing for us really is, like you mentioned, it's not every body is the same. So you can't expect a 10 milligram CBD dose to work from ages 9 to 99.
Yeah.
It really depends a lot on the person's tolerance, how long they've had a condition going on, what is the condition, what is their lifestyle, what type of what type of CBD extract that they're using, what are their goals. Some people just want to sleep better. Some people want to eliminate pain. Some people want to be able to pick up their kids.
Some
So
people want to
really,
go do a 14er.
yeah,
Yeah.
some people training for a marathon and they've never done it before in their life. So that really stems down, to the biggest aspect that we really try to educate our customers with is education.
Hmm.
Um, and really empowering them to think critically when it comes to, how they're using CBD, and we always are around to educate our customers. We have a hemp advisor that, new customers get assigned, and what that is that's just like a very dedicated person who can answer all their questions, like, why don't I notice anything at 10 milligrams, but at
Hmm.
20 milligrams, I'm, taking a nap during the day.
Yeah.
So, we really have always been a big advocate of empowering people so that they can understand their health journey, how CBD relates to that, and then what is the best kind of CBD for them. Um, we're huge proponents into full spectrum, because, me and DJ are very holistic minded.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing wrong with isolate because it does work for some people, but we really believe in having that, the chlorophyll, the terpenes, the other
Hmm.
112 cannabinoids.
The whole plant synergy. Yeah.
Yep, the whole plant synergy, and having that work with the body, because the entourage effect is real. Like, science is really, it has proven that having that trace amount of THC and all those other compounds really help the body utilize CBD more efficiently.
Mhm.
And that really is our biggest proponent of things is education, understanding, and the type of CBD. Like, um, we really have seen also too, people who come to us for pain, that usually it takes honestly about 15 days if they're only going to go a route with a tincture.
Mhm.
And we've seen hundreds of thousands of customers come through our door, and we've got a lot of feedback and experience from them is it takes them about 15 days to really notice that they're going to stick with that tincture route only, for it to really get into the tissues, to get into the ligaments, to
Yeah.
get into the tendons. And yeah, of course, some people take a tincture and a day later they're like, oh my gosh, my elbow pain is gone.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we find most people on average, it's about 15 days for them to really feel the effects of a tincture if they're looking for pain relief.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, if they're looking for sleep or anxiety relief, tincture works typically the quickest, or any ingestible.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about like the most common question that you get asked for somebody that's not um feeling the benefits. What Well, I guess the question would be, yeah, like, why am I not feeling the benefits? So, but so how do you give me an example of let's say someone's coming in with with lower back pain. So
Mm.
okay, so if they've got lower back pain, um, and they're just like wide open saying, "You give me whatever," and let's just say that they started out with a tincture. They were doing like 10 milligrams a day or something like that. Um,
Mm.
how do you work with them? How do you explain to them about titration or things like that, or combining with topicals, or how do you help them to understand um, next steps if something's not working for them?
Yeah, I think most people, when CBD doesn't work for them immediately, because I think CBD has this hype of almost being like this miracle cure. Like,
Yeah.
it works for so many different things, and people are like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And so I think a lot of people have the misconception that CBD, the second you put it on, the second you take it, it's going to work phenomenally. So, our biggest thing with our customers is really number one, setting the expectation of it is very beneficial for many people. It works very well for people. It is natural, but it's not a miracle cure in a lot of senses. And it does require you to have a little bit of stick to itiveness
Mm-hmm.
and looking inside your body. So, we always recommend like try CBD for 30 days every day. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, we have a 30-day money back guarantee, because by the end of 30 days, most people will feel a difference with it. And, understanding that it does take time, like even when we start anything, like when you start exercising or dieting, you're not seeing a result in one day, but by the end of 30 days, you're like, oh, now I can notice and look back along my wellness journey and say, oh, here's the improvements that I do see, and here's how I'm responding to them. So I think that's number one, is really getting them right expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second one is really understanding their health journey. I've trained all of our hemp advisors, and of course, we're not substitutes for doctors, because that's not what we're trying to do. But
Right.
we are all trained wellness experts. I have 20 years in the field of working with clients and helping them take control of their life and that quality of life. So when someone comes to us for back pain, and if they buy a tincture, what we'll do is encourage them, yes, you can totally take the tincture, but also take a little bit of the tincture and rub it on your lower back twice a
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah.
Um, and then use it when, like, let's say they have a lower back and they love gardening and it's garden season. Put it on your back before you go gardening, put it on your back after you go gardening, because what that does is it really, that's the trigger event in your life. That's what's going to
Mm-hmm.
make you have back pain. So it's really important for people to understand how to use CBD in their lifestyle. It's different from someone who's running a marathon versus someone who has shoulder injury versus someone who has like no cartilage in their knees.
Mm-hmm.
All of those different, health conditions and weaknesses people have really do require a thoughtful approach and a little bit of um, trial and error. And that's what we're really big on helping our customers with, is helping them discover,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel when you use it once a day?
Yeah.
And then if they're like, well, it works for about 12 hours, but then it stops, or it works for 4 hours and then it stops. Okay, let's try using it twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they come back and they're like, twice a day worked, it's like, okay,
Well,
like,
because then some people might need it 3 times a day. Yeah, some
yep,
people might need 35 milligrams. Some people might need 20 milligrams. I mean, it's just finding what it is that works for you, and it does take patience. It does.
yeah, yep.
So.
It does take patience, and it does really take education and owning that wellness journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I had my lower back pain, and I couldn't just sit there and wait for my back to get better. No, I had to make the effort to make my back better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whether you have an autoimmune condition like fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis, or it's just a acute thing where it doesn't last, a long time,
Mm-hmm.
have to make the adjustments so you can empower yourself to live the best quality of life that you can. And we're really huge into educating our customers and clients through how to do that with CBD. Find those supportive processes in your body with CBD.
What do you think's the most common um, mistake that people make with CBD?
um well, I honestly think the most common mistake people make with CBD is price shopping in Amazon.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
you, you get what you pay for,
And,
people.
and the biggest, I can tell you about 90% of the customers who we interact with, we've been in mall kiosks throughout the nation, and CBD doesn't work for us, and you flag them down. You're like, well, tell me your experience. Where did you get CBD?
At the gas station.
At the gas station. At the gas station, or I got it from Amazon. And for those guys who don't know, it is against terms of policy for Amazon to sell actual CBD.
Yeah.
So all of the people are like, I could get that for $5 on Amazon, and it's like, well, you're overpaying for hemp seed oil. I don't know, like that's not, it has CBD, and that's the unfortunate thing, and that's the biggest thing that I notice where people go wrong with CBD is the quality really does matter, and the amount of CBD. And a lot of companies in the industry, it's still not mandatory that we lab test, but man, we have all heard of stories of people sending CBD products into labs, and it comes back, they're advertising 5,000 milligrams, it comes back at 50.
Yeah.
And,
We
that's really unfortunate because it gives CBD a bad name. And
mhm.
that's something that we really do have to work with a lot with our customers and people who contact us is, that's why we lab test everything. We lab test our flowers, our extracts, our final products, because knowing that transparency of, okay, if I'm going to say I'm going to take 10 milligrams of CBD, the only way that's going to be effective if there's 10 milligrams of CBD.
Exactly. And that is something that we've actually had numerous episodes on. And I interviewed one of the journalists from Leafly who had done an article about how a company up north had put cough medicine in their CBD so that people would feel something when they took it.
Oh,
And they did
yeah.
not disclose it on the label, of course. So
yeah, I mean, that's the really, this industry grew much faster than the regulations, and that is like the dark side to this industry, because unfortunately, people are being told CBD is this very amazing plant and very beneficial,
which it
but not
is.
know. Yeah, it is, but not knowing about, it's not fully regulated.
Right.
And there are people who are looking to take advantage of the customer, and then there are the companies out there who are looking to really set the precedence and have the customer in mind, because they want to be around. We started this to really help people like it helped me, and that's what we really try to stick with. And people have to educate themselves when they're, considering CBD. But, look at the company, call them, talk to them,
Right.
ask them what's in their product, ask for their lab results, ask where they get their extracts from, so that way they know that when you're buying this product that says 900 milligrams, that's what's going to be in the bottle, and
Yeah.
you can math off that.
Exactly. And I mean, there are going to be times where errors happen also, like in any industry,
Oh yeah.
and so it's not like we're trying to say that um that if an error does show up, it might have been might not have been intentional either. So but there are some bad actors, definitely bad actors in the industry. I remember years ago, the first time that I had seen the list that the FDA put out of the ones that they had tested and the results that came back. I don't know if you remember that, like 5 or 6 years ago. And there are some big company names on there that are still around. And I would love to see more of that,
Yeah.
personally.
So, us too. I mean, regulation is gonna be a big push for a lot of people, but we're all fans of it over here, because
Yeah.
that's the only way really to protect the customer and keep
Mhm.
their best interest in line and keep CBD a good name.
Yeah, because it really does help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said, people will shirk and so there's some CBD products out there that don't even have any CBD in it. And then people will, oh, this doesn't work for me. Well, it's because you really weren't taking the what the product said was in it. So um, that's really important. And that's why a guarantee like yours, 30-day guarantee, is really important.
Hmm.
So
Yep. And it really is. I mean, whatever you guys do, do not buy your CBD at a gas station.
I know. Oh my
Do not
gosh.
stop it. No gas stations, no smoke shops. Just go do your
Yeah.
research.
Well, and it's true because I remember in the early days, especially the market, well, because of the laws here, it hadn't changed, but the market was just inundated with oil from China,
Hmm.
and that hemp could have easily been being used for soil remediation.
Oh
So
yeah.
you don't know where that
Yep.
freaking, yeah, I mean, you don't. So no, don't.
Oh yeah. No, because that's the other thing too, like with other health supplements and everything, they're required to put in the pesticides, heavy metal test.
Hmm.
And it's so crazy because hemp, we all know it's really good at remediating soil. They use it to clean up really toxic, nasty soil.
Chernobyl type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
you never know where it's coming from, which is super important because we have a couple of like huge fields where they used to grow GMO corn and
Hmm.
they would crop dust it every day. And we've been
Oh,
out here for 8 years. So even before that,
poof.
2 seasons ago, they turned it around and started growing hemp on it. And you're just like, there was no cover crop in between to kind
Oh
of deal
my God.
soil. And I'm just like, oh man, like, I just can't believe it because, it's especially for the people who really do have serious health conditions. They
Yes.
have very bad tremors, they have very bad migraines, all those
Hmm.
things.
The immune compromised people. I mean, this isn't, yeah, oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
mean, the state of Colorado has some really good laws when it comes to testing and things like that, but nothing, you just, you can't catch everything in a test either. So that's why it's really good to know the people that you're getting your product from. Um, but yeah, it's just not a good thing. So when it comes to tinctures, there
Mhm.
are there's a lot of different words and processes and all that stuff around it, the liposomal and the different extraction methods, blah 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 blah, alcohol, etc., etc. So how about you just give a little information on what makes an oral, tincture, like a tincture, an oral product, an oral CBD product, absorb into your body better. What, you know, kind of looking at a couple different ways that things that you might be able to find. What would be a good one for people to use that would actually get in, get absorbed well and not just pussyfoot around in there. So,
Yeah, so aside from making sure that there's lab tests to know the milligrams in the bottle, um, we predominantly deal with full spectrum. We do carry some isolate products because those are THC free and safer for drug tests. And I
hmm.
know isolate has really come a long way in changing the chemical structure so it does get absorbed better. But us, and I'm totally biased in this, is we really believe that full spectrum does absorb incredibly
Hmm.
better because you have those supportive compounds. And especially having that trace amount of THC, which some people do shy away from because they think, and this was me too when I first started. I thought it was going to get me high, and I don't really smoke because I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, horrible stoner. I was really afraid, that it was gonna get me high, which is what took me so long to try it as
Mhm.
well. Um, but once, when we were forming Happy Buddha Head, at the time, isolate and full spectrum was the only thing available, and we do spagyric, which we can talk about in a little bit. But that full spectrum, I really felt like the less milligrams did more or less the same effect, and it tended to last a little bit longer for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And what our research and what we've read on all the scientific journals and articles, from in the United States and out in international, is that little bit of THC really helps as a delivery system. So
Mhm.
it gets the CBD into your endocannabinoid receptors in your cells more effectively, because your body, it has those cells where it says, oh, I'm ready for CBD and I'm ready for cannabinoids, and that THC kind of helps that, and those CBD
Mhm.
molecules be delivered into the cell, which help your body respond. So, I've seen, through my own personal experience, and we've all seen it from our company, that the full spectrum, it works more or less the same, sometimes a little bit better with less milligrams, which is a huge component. Like, not all milligrams are the same in our opinion.
Well,
And
yeah, and also, I mean, it also has to do with what terpenes are in the mix too.
yeah,
You know, so because those terpenes can be incredibly beneficial to not only helping your body absorb it, but also, there are some terpenes that are just good for certain conditions as well. So,
yep, the terpenes, the flavonoids.
mhm.
And the thing that I really love about full spectrum is you don't get CBD only, which is usually what you typically get with
Yeah.
isolate.
Mhm.
You get CBN, CBG, CBDA, all of those compounds.
Mhm.
And, I think that's really beneficial because, research is showing that CBD is just one aspect to it, like
Yeah.
where other ones are better at helping anti-inflammation, others are better at helping with, nerve transmission and seizure disorders. Other are better at, cancer suppression. And, um, the United States is very early in its studies of CBD in comparison to Israel, but some of the stuff Israel has discovered is just very impressive.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Exactly. We really yeah, we came on late because of political reasons, and that's a shame, but we're gonna catch up, man. I'm telling you.
One day.
We're gonna
Yeah,
well, one of the reasons, I mean, just look at the population that we have here compared to other countries, and we've got a lot of brilliant minds, just as every other country has, but because of the number of people we have, I think we just have that many more brilliant minds. And so they're jumping on it full
oh yeah.
bore. It's
I
wonderful.
mean, the research we've seen come out in the last few years is just, it's very mind-boggling how fast they get to it.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I'm loving seeing the because I work in animal health, and so I am just loving all of these full on studies comparing um, uh, a medication. So they've got um, they've got three. They've got the medication, they've got the placebo, and then they've got CBD. So not only are they comparing it to the medication, but they're also comparing it to the placebo. And this is for I think this is for geriatric arthritis in dogs. And um, it's just the numbers that are coming out are just amazing. I mean, it's CBD, and then it's the placebo and the other information and the other product, but CBD is blowing it out of the water, and it's dogs don't freaking lie. They can't. They don't know how. So that's why I like animal studies personally, because they.
Yeah, yeah, it is really interesting. And I really love the ones too, like my personal favorite. And Oh, they're definitely some time to read through, but it actually really studies how CBD interacts with the cells.
Hmm.
So they'll really focus in on pain cells, and when they're applying CBD versus placebo versus the medication, like what
Hmm.
actually is going on a cellular level. Because I'm a super anatomy nerd, so I love those studies though, because to me that's really the best part about this industry is people like that who are, for massage, we did that for years. It's like, oh well, if you do this, this helps. And science, 10 years ago, they discovered the myofascial system, or like 20 years ago. And
Exactly.
massage therapists knew about it and were working with it for so much longer. And then they were like, did you guys know there's this whole cellular network that transmits like all these chemicals, these signals, and it helps you with aches and pains? And we're like, yeah.
Kind of what we do.
Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, we knew, but thank you for actually like,
Acknowledging. Yeah.
doing it so people don't think we just make stuff up.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is awesome. What is your favorite product from Happy Buddha Hemp?
Yeah, so it really changes. Right now, I'm into the body oils, the bath and body oils, and those I love because they're jojoba based. And I actually got really into them when we were working at the kiosk, because we'd give people samples all day and we're rubbing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would work at the kiosk for a week, my hands were never like, they have never been more hydrated. And winter is hit, I'm officially like, oh my gosh, my hands are so chapped. So I've got my body oils right next to me all the time, and I'm constantly putting them on because they are very deeply hydrating. And a lot of people, don't like the oil because it does kind of leave that oily effect for a few
Mm-hmm.
minutes. But then when you want to talk about really deep hydration and deep pain relief, oils are like mwah.
So how many milligrams are in the bottle of your oils?
Yeah, so there's 1,000 milligrams of full spectrum spagyric CBD in the 4 ounces, but I only have the 1 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And those are 250 milligrams per ounce. So they're basically the same strength, but they're just a smaller
Yeah,
package.
yeah. Okay, talk about the spagyric.
Yeah. So I guarantee you, nobody, if you ever heard of it, dude, shout it out. Because like 1 out of every 1,000 people have heard of spagyric.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were forming this, we were looking at full spectrum isolate to add to our products, and we found this amazing biochemist who knew about spagyric. And what it is it's this very old alchemaic technique from like the 1500s, from herbalists and the doctors of those days and alchemists. And it's a very unique process because it actually captures the calcified salts and minerals of the plant, and
Mm-hmm.
we add it back into the extract. And in the 1500s, how they came up with it was because of course there's no modern medicine, so people would just die all the time and
Yeah.
get really sick over basic infections. And in order to make their tonics and tinctures and compresses stronger, you know, it's very much ancient wisdom of having the more availability of the plant's chemical structure in the therapeutic product
Mm-hmm.
is more beneficial. So what they did was, they would make their tinctures and soak it in alcohol, which is what we do with our hemp plants. And then they take, a lot of people take the biomass and just recycle it, they give it away,
Mm-hmm.
they burn it, whatever they do. But we actually burn it. And what that does is that it calcifies the salts and minerals of the plant. And then we wash it through a very fine micron screen, so it gets rid of
Mm-hmm.
all of the carbon impurities. And when that water, the distilled water that we use to evaporate it, it starts to evaporate, you actually see the crystals and the little salts and minerals happening. So what we do then is add that back into our crude full spectrum oil, and it actually starts to kind of bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually the chemical process of it changing from an acid to more of an alkaline extract, and adding that salts and minerals back in just to really, not only chlorophyll, terpenes, flavonoids,
Mm-hmm.
all the CBD, the THC, but those salts and minerals too, to really, give that full support of the hemp plant, because there's so many beneficial compounds in there.
Oh yeah.
And then when we tried it, we tried it on everybody that we knew. We bought a bunch of isolate, spagyric, and then full spectrum. And it'd say like about 85-90% of people came back and said, we didn't tell them. We were like A, B, or C. And most people
Uh-huh.
came back and they're like, B, B, B. That's the one I like. That's the one I like. And it happened to be spagyric. So we really fell in love with it. And that's something we really try to educate people on, is what the heck is spagyric. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very specialized process that does take a lot of time, but man, when you actually put it on or take it internally, we're like, oh, that's spagyric.
Definitely. Yeah, you yeah, I never heard of it before you. Definitely had never heard of it. But it really makes sense. It just, that's we all love the full plants, and and we talk about full spectrum. That's about as full spectrum as you can get without just, I don't know, eating it. Yeah, so and I don't
Yep.
really like that grass in there, so but yeah, it's just an amazing way of processing it. So good for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's cool because it always, people are like, wait, spagyric, and we're like, spagyric.
I
Yeah.
remember saying it the first time. I'm like Spyro Ja. but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we used to, I forget if we did it, but we used to like try to, yep, we phonetically spell it on our labels. So that when they'll call us and they'll be like, what's Spubjirpa? And you're like, it's cured.
Oh, that's a good thing. Okay, so let's see. How about, what is something that when you started with the industry you didn't realize and that now you do? Other than spagyric. Can't use that one twice. So,
Yeah. So when we started in the industry, something I realized that now that I don't is, um, it's not so relevant now, but when we first started, the regulations.
yeah.
We had this marketing plan where we used to carry CBD teas, and we were approaching all these cafes. We just finished everything. We were about to launch in all these cafes. And then at the time it was only legal in Colorado, and they just randomly came out with this rule that said, nope, CBD is not allowed in food. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So going back to the drawing board and, seeing how it's changed. I mean, there are still some states that, forbid CBD from happening, but once it got nationally like passed,
And that
with
farm bill.
with the farm
Hmm.
bill, it was such a very unique unique opportunity to watch that transition in the industry, and people's response to it. And then, the other thing that I would say that I've really learned along the way is what CBD is like for different people.
Hmm.
I've talked to a vast majority of our customers, and hearing their experience with it, and how, someone with migraines, there's like 5 different responses you can have when it comes to migraines and using CBD. So really, learning and understanding what those touch points are to, look out for with people who have
Hmm.
migraines or all these other conditions. And truly seeing, I know it very well from massage that not every body is the same,
Hmm.
but learning it from, the outside perspective, where I'm not relying on my hands to find it, but really the feedback from our customers and clients, and how differently CBD works in people. It's a really unique process that I hope I don't ever stop learning, because it's
Yeah.
really, it's one of the great aspects of, doing Happy Buddha Hemp, is talking to everyone and sharing in their wellness journey and understanding how it works, and answering all their questions. And it's really a beautiful thing to be a part of, and I get so much from it.
Well, and it's also really great that you do work so closely with your customers, because you can, compile a good database of experience there, so that you can reference back to, oh, someone like you were saying, you know, one person does this, one person does that, and you've got that whole history now to be able to reference where if someone says, well, my migraine did ABC, and you can go back and go, okay, well, that did happen to someone, and they were able to try something else, add this or whatever. So it's really great to be able to have all that, quote unquote anecdotal evidence, to because that's where everything starts. The, it's all the only reason it's anecdotal is because we haven't had enough scientists looking at it yet.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's yeah. See, so I'm an analyst, and so I work with numbers. All I do all day, every day, computers and data, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing one day, is where there's a clearinghouse of information, so that people can go into it and find the commonalities and the anomalies, and use that as a basis of going, okay, well, geez, let's look at this. I mean, seems like we've got a whole bunch of people experiencing this awesome thing. How about we, throw some money at it and do a study? So at some point, I'm hoping to see something like that, because when you have enough people saying that this combination, works, has worked over and over and over again for a certain condition, then that needs to be something that um, science looks into, and can definitely say, yeah, well, we just did 1,000-person study, and here are the results, and it supports it 100%. So, yep,
Yeah. And also what the contraindications are for CBD.
yep,
Typically it's just a very good adaptogen. It's not very aggressive in how it works, but
hmm
people with very chronic conditions are on lifelong medication, and really understanding the full ramifications of what to watch out for, when it works, when it doesn't, how these
hmm
things interact with each other. Because someone with diabetes, or
or someone
very,
that's on blood thinners.
yep, someone that's on blood thinners, I'm really excited for the day when we can look back and say, oh, great, there it is. I mean, we always encourage people to definitely talk to their doctors when they're doing this. And,
hmm
we've talked to a lot of doctors who call us, and they're like, hey, tell me about what you have going on. I'm looking at the lab results. I'm looking at this. What does this mean? And, I love it when doctors call us, and healthcare providers, because to me, that's really bridging that gap,
Oh, yes.
um, and help getting that out there in a very safe, effective way. So people don't hurt themselves. That's no,
Yeah.
we're no one's after that. And it's just a really beautiful thing when we encourage our customers, like, hey, share this with your doctor, have them call us with any questions. And then we get
hmm
a call, and we're like, hey, I just want to know about your product, what's in here, etc., so they can really try to understand, and
hmm
keep monitoring their patients for any important changes.
Yeah. No, it's great to have a healthcare provider uh, that is willing and interested in learning more about CBD, and I mean, I know it's a bit taboo still. FDA is still doing their thing, but I can understand um can understand and appreciate how hard this is for the FDA, which is why I think they really need to put it under an herbal supplement. First of all, it's not a single molecule, and that confuses them. And 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 truly, it really has to do with how your endocannabinoid system works. The absorption rate and all that, and it's not an exact science. It really requires the person who's taking it to be an active participant in their wellness, like you were talking about. And they they need to pay attention to their body and know when they're taking too little, too much, and but that's why if they have someone to talk them through it, it makes it all that much more easy.
Hmm. Yeah, and it is really helpful because a lot of people are so mystified about CBD, with all the blogs and information and all the stuff out there. It's like
And
almost
marketing, all the marketing.
marketing. Yeah, there's like six heads talking, and so many customers are just like, I don't even know. And, really is about empowering yourself so you do know.
Hmm.
You understand what product you're getting, you understand the company it's coming from, you understand what's the best choice for you.
Hmm.
Like military people, FedEx drivers,
Yeah,
full spectrum
they got
stuff.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not the best choice for them, but people who don't get drug tested or people who, work from home or work for themselves,
Hmm.
that's the best choice for them. So really, you know, um, even though it really works well, it's not a miracle cure, and people do have to
Hmm.
get out there and research and truly understand what is beneficial for them, how to use it, and what to look for.
And to also realize that if you took something and it didn't work, that doesn't mean it won't work. It means
Hmm.
it didn't work, and let's figure out why it didn't work. Um, if you work with people that have that 30-day guarantee, they're going to be there to walk you through it, and hopefully learn what does work for you. And it's not always just you take a dropper full and that's it. It's that there's some more to it, and having a partner to work through it with is very helpful for a lot of people. And so I am grateful for companies like yours that actually do work with the customer to help them get the results and the benefits that they can get from it. So
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's that's the beautiful part of this journey
yeah.
is reaching out and having people and sharing that. It really is nice. And the other thing I want to say too is, number one, we've talked about the gas station CBD. I can't tell you how many times we have people who run into us or call us or are interacting with us, and they're like, well, they got sick from it. And the most common response of, well, where did you get your CBD, is the gas station. So, that's my one thing. If it literally
Yeah.
starts making you sick or giving you adverse effects, that's
Hmm.
the only time where we say, like, stop it immediately. Like, don't want to continue. Because if it's literally making you, sick, you don't want to do that. Because that's the opposite of what you need. And very good, good CBD that's right for you, and that is processed correctly, and that is farmed on good land.
Hmm.
It doesn't make you sick.
Right, right.
I mean, I know there are the people who occasionally are legitimately allergic to cannabis.
Hmm.
But those are few and far between. Usually, most
Exactly.
most people that come around and they're like, oh, well, I had this, it's because it was poor processing and
Hmm.
product manufacturing. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that is still so scary whenever I hear that happen.
yeah.
Hopefully that won't happen at some point, but
Yep. But no, because now everybody who listens to this will go out there and do your research and you know be accountable and understand.
I'm pretty sure we've had a dozen episodes on that because it's so important. And I also constantly stress that, testing, that the company has a certificate of analysis to provide to people so that they can see what's in their product, and it really does make a difference. It really, really makes a difference. And unfortunately, there are some good. Okay, they're not good companies, but there's some, let's just say, good business people who think that they know what they're doing, and so they have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted because they've been in manufacturing, they've made shampoos or whatever, and blah blah blah. So they think, oh, it's just another product, and they don't realize what they have. And because I actually had this happen with a manufacturer, and they're like, oh yeah, it's full spectrum, it's sold on Amazon, and I said, well, give me your COAs. And we gave him the COAs. I said, this isn't full spectrum. This is an isolate. Oh, no, it's a full spectrum isolate. There's no such thing as a full spectrum isolate. And so then, I'm going to call my, the guy I get my oil from, and you can talk to him and he'll explain to you. And then he gets called back later. Oh, yeah, it was an isolate.
Yep.
I guess my choices were, do I want full spectrum or do I want an isolate? Yeah. And these are people who have millions of dollars that they're putting into things. So
Yeah.
just because it's a big company does not mean they know what they're doing. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, because they
see money.
They see money, and they're willing to, out of just being naive or ignorant.
Ignorance. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the customer is the person who takes the wrath from it. But
Mm-hmm.
that the industry is changing and it is getting better. Like the FDA is in the process of figuring out how to regulate it, and I am like waiting for the day when they come out and say, here's the regulations, because we are ready to go. We operate with, like, they're almost already in place. That's why we test our hemp flower for pesticides, heavy metals. It's why we test our extracts for stuff. That's why we test the final product, is because we do want that transparency, because we don't have anything to hide. We're not like, oh, great, let's play a game with everybody.
Yeah. When you can just,
Yeah.
if you just learn about the plant, which you guys have done all that, know what it can do and help people. There's your ticket to success. It's not let's throw $2 million of it, open up a company, and buy some product, throw it in a bottle, and sell it to people.
Yep.
So yeah, be careful.
The thing about plant medicine is too, and this is definitely a little hippie tangent, but you are working with a living thing. It's not like you're selling cutting boards or something. Like this is a live thing that you really have to put care and quality and understanding and love into, because at the end of the day, that's really what you get. People say when you pray over your food, or
or your water,
or give thanks for it, it does change it, and it does make it more beneficial on some level. And especially with the water, they really found, and we've all seen it with teachers who tell, they have two vegetables, and kids say, like, I hate you, you're gross. And then the other one, they're like, I love you, you're beautiful. And the difference in how plants and all that stuff age is really, we all know about it. And that's the important thing, is you have to find people who put that effort of care and love and nurturing into this, because it is a living thing.
Yeah.
It is a living thing, and it's very, we've all seen what difference it can make. So
Yep. Plant medicine it's and that's why I'm hoping that they do it more as a herbal supplement type of deal with the regulation than what I'd hope they do is just like have a real broad umbrella. But we do have to have the regulations. We have to have something to get those bad actors out. It's gotta be tested. There's gotta be that responsibility from the manufacturer. It shouldn't be something that anyone can just pour into a bottle and stick a label on. It's you got to respect it more than that. So
yeah, that's really where it should start from, is respecting it.
Yeah. Well, you would think, but it's
yeah.
All right. So final thoughts for the listeners. What is something that you want to make sure that they understand about using cannabinoid-based products, or something to that effect? Just like people have got to know this. What is it?
Yeah, you have got to know that it is not a miracle, that you have to be active in this. You have to be, you're in it for some degree of recovery and improving your quality of life. And fortunately, you don't have to rechange your whole life. It's most of the time as easy as looking inward and saying, how do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
How do I feel every couple days? Like, what differences do I notice? And taking that accountability, be like, oh, I feel really good. Nothing needs to change, or I don't feel enough. What do I do now? And really, having fun with it, playing with it, and experimenting with it, because it's a journey of wellness. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, especially people who live with chronic or even very serious acute injuries or conditions, it sucks the fun out of life.
Yeah, it
And
does.
it's like, you lose that shine that makes you like you. So have fun with it, find ways to nurture yourself throughout this process of wellness with CBD, and just you know explore it like it's almost like a fun discovery of, how does this feel versus that? What if I spend an extra 2 minutes massaging it in? And just having fun with that wellness journey, and really encouraging you to just take that responsibility for your health and that wellness, because you're your best advocate.
Yeah.
You really know your body and how you handle things better than anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
hands down. And it's important to just kind of have fun with it and treat it like a discovery.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we said, just, honor the plant.
Yeah,
It's a good plant.
yeah,
And the other
yeah.
thing that I think people might find also is that, and I've had this happen with some people that I was working with, um, they've been taking it for several weeks, and like at the beginning, they're like, "Oh my God, this is just amazing," et cetera, et cetera. And then like after about 3 weeks or a couple months, they're like, I just don't think it's working anymore. And like, and I said, okay, that's good. Go ahead and just not take it for a week and give me a call back. And like 3 days later, okay, it was working. It was working. They had fortunately gotten used to the fact that feeling good, that, at the beginning, it was feeling good. It was like, what? How could I be feeling this good? But then that feeling good became their new normal. And they weren't, it wasn't, they just didn't realize it was still working because it was working really well. But it wasn't until they stopped taking it and that they started feeling those other symptoms come back and like, oh my gosh, wait, whoa, you know, I want to be able to walk up the stairs without grabbing onto the stairwell, as I'm doing. So,
Yeah, it's though when it comes to like good experience and bad experiences, the mind so quickly forgets about the good
mm-hmm.
that it like only remembers the bad. And like I think that's part of it too, is like when people feel good, they're almost like, this is weird."
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a funny
Uh,
thing. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing all your knowledge with us. What is your website?
yeah, so our website is Happy Buddha, Buddha, hemp.com. And we did create a little coupon code for your listeners if they wanted to check out some of our products. We've got topicals, tinctures, edibles, pet treats, and a lot of really good stuff. It's all organically grown in Paonia. So we created a lovely 40% coupon code in CBD Talk. That's all you have to do is enter it at happybuddhahemp.com. And yeah, if you guys want to check us out, you can also read about me and DJ's story and our meeting on the Naked Hippie Commune, and see what Paonia looks like, because nobody knows where this is, but man, it is one of like the best, most beautiful places I've ever been in Colorado.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. All right. Well, so 40% off at happybuddhahemp.com. Code is CBD Talk. I'll go ahead and make sure when I put it on Twitter and stuff to let people know about that too. So they can
Awesome.
they can take
Yeah, well, thank
advantage.
you so much for having me on, Dawn. It's just such a great thing. I love that, you're doing this. You're one of the people that's changing the industry and making sure people really know. how to have a good CBD experience. So that's really much appreciated, and it's just been nice to sit down with you.
Takes a village, man. Takes a village. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Until the next episode, stay happy and stay
7,
healthy.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.